guys, welcome back to CRIMETOBER. I know, extra. Anyways, this story takes us to Bronx, New York. Halloween is all about fun, candy, costumes, and lighthearted pranks. When I think about the pranks going on for around Halloween, I think about Michael Myers of Decatur. He always pops up on my For You page, and it's nothing but lighthearted fun. That's what Halloween is all about. Well, that was not the case for one young man. Back in Halloween night of 1998, things would take a deadly turn. This is the story of Karl Jackson. Karl Jackson was a 21-year-old who lived in the Bronx of New York. He was described as being very quiet but very dependable. He worked as a data clerk at the Morgan Stanley, and on the night of Halloween 1998, he had been out with his girlfriend. Now, like some others, some are at parties or wearing costumes. Him and his girlfriend were on their way to pick up her son from a relative. It was supposed to be an ordinary night, but things took a fast turn for Karl. So on Halloween night 1998, Karl was driving down the Sound View of Bronx, and it had been stated that many young kids are always throwing eggs on Halloween night in this particular area. And so they actually egged Karl's car. And this is where everything changed. He would pull over, step out, and get out the car to approach the teen, not necessarily wanting to fight or to be angry, but to tell them that that's not okay to egg someone's car. And honestly, it can be very dangerous when you're driving and someone eggs your car, multiple eggs at that, and then you cannot see. And then something else could have even. Within a split second, one of the teens, as Karl is trying to talk to them, like I said, not in an aggressive manner, not being angry, but simply just wanting to talk to them, he goes in the waistband and pulls out a gun. And this teen pulls that gun out and shoots Karl Jackson in the head. When I read that, I could not believe my eyes, because 1998 and you're that angry. Like, I'm thinking of like time, and I'm like, you're that angry because someone told you not to throw an egg at their car, and how it could be potentially dangerous, which it is dangerous, not potentially, but you know what I'm saying? Like, whoa. So Karl ends up collapsing completely, and his girlfriend calls 911, but before paramedics could even get there, Karl Jackson was already deceased. The shooter ends up running off, and it's just baffling to me. You shoot someone because you're that angry, because someone is telling you what they don't like about your actions, and your first reaction is to pull out a gun and shoot them. Halloween night, like, are you okay? So police quickly tracked and traced the individual that had shot Karl Jackson in the head, and it turned out to be a 17-year-old. Now, as I began to do a little research, y'all know I have a lot of cases, so I tried my hardest to provide as much as I possibly can. And as I began to research, of course, they did not provide the name, because this individual was a juvenile at the time, and there isn't any reports on how long he did receive far as his sentencing. He was sentenced to prison, but there's not anything to show how much he got, because again, 1998, you're a juvenile, they seal a lot of these records. So I don't have that information. But what we do know is a mother lost her son. And I want to read verbatim what the mother said about this to reporters. She said, "My son lost his life because someone didn't know how to take responsibility for a prank." And those words hit deep, because that is a lot of people's problems even now in 2025. People will rather resort to anger and reaction first, versus communicating and being able to de-escalate situations, and saying and holding accountability, not saying, but holding accountability. Say, you know what, I'm sorry. If someone comes to you and say, hey, what you did, I did not like your actions, that is the time for you to just apologize, not to bring up excuses and not to get super frustrated. It's okay to be mad at yourself, but not to be angry that you take someone's life. Karl Jackson was just a 21-year-old doing something very simple, going to pick up his girlfriend's son, which ultimately turned into the demise of his own. It's a reminder that when Halloween comes, to know that not everyone wearing a costume can be evil. Sometimes they're just people that let ego and fear take control of their lives. And it's also a reminder, if you're going out on Halloween this entire month, to be safe, to, you know what, walk away from certain things. Some things are just not even worth it, because some of these teens out here, and I know this is not 1998, but some of these teens out here, you can't tell them nothing, honey. That's tonight's story, guys, and I will see you tomorrow for CRIMETOBER. Bye, guys.